After 25 years on the throne, Akhmos died, but his legacy would live on. To ensure that foreigners would never rule his country again, he had pushed Egypt's borders beyond the Sinai Desert in the north and deep into Nubia in the south. The warrior pharaoh had laid the foundations of an empire.
It was the beginning of the light of the day. It was the beginning of the sun got rise. It was the beginning of the pyramids to come back. It was the beginning of the glory of Egypt. This is why we called it the Golden Age.
Akhmos had spent his life securing peace for Egypt. Now Egypt could be rebuilt, and Thebes, the religious capital, could flourish. One pharaoh in particular, Hatshepsut, transformed the city, constructing beautiful temples as well as the strange new obelisks that towered over them. Weighing over 300 tons and standing 30 meters tall, obelisks were cut from a single piece of granite. Building and erecting these stone spires was a spectacular achievement that still puzzles engineers today. Obelisks became the defining monuments of the new kingdom. Bold and innovative, they have been emulated around the world ever since. But the obelisks also represented a mystery. For years, archaeologists had known that obelisks were built during Hatshepsut's reign, but this name was missing from the list of kings on these temple walls, the official records. It was as if Hatshepsut had never existed. It remained a mystery for 3,000 years. In 1903, British archaeologist Howard Carter was working in a tomb in the Valley of the Kings. Sifting through the sand, Carter came across a tomb, and on it the name of the pharaoh, Hatshepsut. Hatshepsut had been wiped from historical records for a very simple reason. This remarkable pharaoh was a woman. Early in her life, Hatshepsut had been an ordinary queen. When her husband died, her stepson Thutmose came to the throne. But he was too young to rule alone. So Hatshepsut ruled as co-regent. This was not exceptional. What was shocking was her next step. Hatshepsut declared herself pharaoh.
Hatshepsut must have been an extraordinary woman. She found herself the most important ruler of the time. The next ruler to come to the throne, Thutmose III, was only a small child. So she took action, and from being a regent, she had herself proclaimed not queen, but king of Egypt. What drives her? Is it ambition, or is it politically the right thing to do at that time?
She saw the opportunity and she seized it. It was the desire for power. She saw that this system of female regents could be turned into securing full power for a senior woman of the royal family like herself.
Only 2 women had been pharaoh before Hatshepsut, and both had failed to rule for long. But this did not deter her. She believed Egypt could be persuaded to accept a woman on the throne. After all, women in Egypt were held in high regard compared with other cultures of the time, as ancient texts reveal.
I hereby make my will for my wife. I leave her all of the property which I inherited from my
Don't give your wife
brother.
grief at home when you know that she's in control. Never say, "Where is it? Find it for me," when she has put something where it's supposed to be.
Keep your eyes open, but keep your mouth shut. If you appreciate her quality...
You were better off as a woman in ancient Egypt than in most ancient societies. But it was very difficult for them to branch out independently, have their own careers. It was still a man's world. Egyptian women were known as lady of the house, or if you like, housewife. Hatshepsut is no housewife.
Despite the rights women possessed at the time, Egyptians struggled with the idea of a female pharaoh. It went against the natural order of life, a concept Egyptians described as Ma'at.
Ma'at meant the order of the whole cosmos, the way the universe was constructed, Egypt's place in the cosmos, relationships with foreigners and Egypt were part of that. Foreigners are inferior, Egypt is superior and dominant, and the king should be male.
She knew that she has no right for the throne, and the Egyptian will never accept that.
Hatshepsut's need to legitimize her role as pharaoh would dominate her entire reign. First, she turned to her ancestry. Hatshepsut stressed the fact that she was the daughter of a king.
Hatshepsut can be seen as the Queen Elizabeth I of ancient Egypt, and one of the strongest features in her life is her relationship with her father. She may be a woman, she may be somebody whose claim to the throne was rather shaky, but do not ever forget that she was the daughter of Thutmosis I. Queen Elizabeth used to interview ambassadors underneath a portrait of Henry VIII. The message was the same: I am my father's daughter.
Hatshepsut even put words into her dead father's mouth, claiming he had publicly appointed her as his successor.
This is my daughter, Hatshepsut. I hereby appoint her in my place. She alone will sit on my majestic throne. Listen to her commands and work together on whatever she orders.
But she went further. On her temple walls, she carved a tale of how the god Amun took on her father's appearance and made love to her mother. Hatshepsut was not only the daughter of a pharaoh, now she was the daughter of a god. Hatshepsut personally embraced her sexuality, reveling in descriptions of her own beauty.
Her body was covered with the finest incense. Her scent was a divine shower. Her skin glittered like the stars. To look at her was more beautiful than anything.
But Hatshepsut was pharaoh.